Cheers. Click, clink.
Cheers.
So you mentioned your Skyline. You're also a bit notorious for skating to gigs.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
yeah, that's what comes with not being able to afford a car.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Well, I guess when you spend all your money on records, it's who needs a car?
yeah, but records and other things. But I've got my priorities
Fireball.
sort of set. Yeah,
Yep. Fireball and darts.
yeah, pretty
Yep.
much.
And so you also used to, well, you mentioned about how you ran a few parties and promoted. What other sort of weird, quirky jobs have you might have done in the scene?
Well, like back in the early days, Fagan and I were some of hardware's best flyer hander-outers.
Yeah.
So we used to do we used to be those annoying people that used to fill your windshield with flyers
Yep.
all over St Kilda, and I used to stand out the front of or at the end of a hardware rave, or Every Picture Tells a Story, or Belfast, or Welcome 2000, or Welcome whatever year it was.
Yep.
I'd be the guy at the end of the night standing at the exit handing out the flyer for the next party.
Yep.
Because I was really interested in, I mean, even before that I was promoting.
This is before the days of social media where everyone could just click on 100 events
in the
at
late
once.
90s. A couple of guys from my high school named Ross Mewson and Ollie Thomas, they were running a techno party. They were the first guys that I ever knew to play records, and they were, and Ross's older brother Paul Mewson and another guy named Adrian Arnott. They were running a party called Movement, and I pretty much just helped them promote that party.
Yep.
Because I always liked the idea of going out and not having to fight. Yeah. Because a lot of my early days of going out ended up in brawls and like big fights in Ringwood and all that sort of stuff. And then when we moved into the city, and raving just showed me there was a place that you could go out where none of that was needed. You know?
I think that still stands today. You can go out and listen to good music and be around
Yeah, and
people
you
getting loose, but it's all love.
Yeah, and you could go out with a bunch of girls that didn't actually weren't forced to be put on meat racks.
Yeah.
You know, and where guys were just ogling and grabbing at them and all that sort of stuff. They had the freedom to be who they were and be sexy without having 100 guys hassling them for it.
Yep.
But I also, the main thing that got me over the line in those early days was I loved the recovery parties. Recovery parties, sitting around with a whole bunch of people. And, you know, I am always somebody that's never shied away from that. That was back in the days when ecstasy was a really big part of the scene, and it was all love when that was around, and there was nothing like coming back after a really healthy party and sitting around with a whole bunch of your best friends, playing some music and sitting around pretty much in cuddle puddles, you know.
Which we saw a few of your mates doing that earlier today, which we'll get to shortly. But before the recovery party, you used to hide in clubs, I hear.
I was one of the, and this is I'll give a bit of a rep and a mention to a guy named Jamie Vegas, who used to have a brand called Turak Trash.
That's a good name, Jamie Vegas.
Yeah. And I met him because
Turak Trash, also a good name.
Yeah, and the tagline for his clothing label was "Disgusting Pleasure." Everyone's got one, you know. So,
what's yours?
Well, I've got too many, and none to be mentioned over a podcast.
Okay.
But
Fireball and darts.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. That's socially acceptable, I suppose.
Yep.
But I would often be one of the last people left on a dance floor at a rave, and time after time, I'd look over and there'd be this other guy shuffling away named Jamie, and we became really close. And then I helped him with his brand Turak Trash.
So the lights
would come on, and I would then go and hide somewhere in a club and wait till everything's packed up, and the DJs, like, I could see them having a minute, and then I would jump up and get people like Richie Rich, Nick MQ, all the local guys to sign my visor. I had a visor that had every local DJ. I mean, Richie Rich got sick of me.
Yeah.
Nick Demcube, I really got to know and like him because he was a graphic designer as well. He designed all the flyers for every picture, tell the story.
Yep.
And I just thought the local guys were as good as any international that I'd ever seen. So I didn't want signatures from internationals. I wanted signatures from people that I knew.
Yeah.
And so I'd hide in a toilet or hide behind a bar or hide under some clothes or hide behind a couch until the lights came on and everyone was packed up and the DJs were leaving, and then I'd jump up and they'd be like, "Oh, Jesus, you again, Tahl." Like, yeah, we'll sign it.
Yep. Cool. Few more quickies. Favourite venue?
Favourite venue, I have to be, I can't go past Revs. I can't. Revolver, I almost grew up in that nightclub.
Yep. Favourite venue that's no longer around?
Well, Cuba.
Cuba. Whereabouts was that?
Cuba was on the corner of Chapel and Toorak Road.
Yep.
I used to close there on Monday mornings for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to close there a lot, and I DJ'd a lot with Boogs there.
Yep.
But that was a dirty, filthy, awesome venue. That was. You liken it to Tramp these days. Tramp is because it's down under the Cuba was down. You walked downstairs underneath, so you were almost underneath Chapel Street was where the venue was.
Yep.
You know?
Who's best to go back to back with?
Best to go back to back with. Ooh. I have a heap of them. Luke Vecchio is really fun to go back to back with. He tests me.
He tests you? In what way?
I mean, he tests me because he does things on the decks that I don't know what he's doing. So he always puts me on my A game.
Yep.
Musker and I always, back in the early days, people used to come and watch Musker and I play, and either it would be a good show or me and Musker might get into a fist fight together and shake each other around in the booth.
Yep. Is that what, over song selection or other?
No, just over
life,
just pure energy. I really enjoy doing verses with LeBrew, Scotty Pesticide.
Mm-hmm.
I like doing verses with. I find doing back to back with people is some of my favourite times of DJing because I think music is about sharing.
Yeah.
I just recently did a really good back to back with Sean Rolt at the Breakfast Club, and he's somebody that I used to play with at Q-Bar back in the day.
Yeah, right.
And somebody that's had that. When you've got two people that have got 15 years experience each, so it's 30 years experience on the decks. It's just that's proper musos jamming.
Yeah,
you know?
And you don't plan anything when you have those sort of sets.
No, not really. We just get together. I love jamming with JMC, Ethan McLaren.
Mm-hmm.
And any chance that I even get to be behind the decks with Boogs is a real special time for me. Like on my 40th birthday, we did a 4-hour set at Revolver.
Yep.
But in saying that, I'm still to this day a little starstruck by Boogs, and I find him intimidating. So sometimes that can direct my playing style.
Yeah.
To try and
overthink it.
To overthink, yeah. And I sometimes can't feel as comfortable as I can be with with everybody else, but that's who he is. I don't. He's the master. He created everything that I enjoy. And as a picture that's up at the moment, I really enjoy playing with Logan Baker.
Yep.
I used to really enjoy DJing when I got the chance with a guy named Kodiak Kid, who's now just released his first EP and is blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the best DJs that I would say Kodiak Kid is almost the best DJ I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, well.
Him and Boogs are probably the two best DJs I've ever seen.
Is there anyone that you haven't gone back to back with that you would like to?
No, most of them I can walk up to and ask if I can have a jam with them. But there's plenty of DJs that I'd love to do back to back with, but I have DJed with most people I want to DJ with.
Sick. That's one. What's the best show you've been to?
Best show I've been to was would probably be a couple of, like in the early days, was a couple of times I went and saw Too Many DJs play, which is, they're the two brothers that do that mashup style music, and they do mashups but on vinyl. So that was, there's been just too many shows for me to actually call out one or two.
Yep.
I used to love going to see Crafty Cuts and A Skills and all those guys, but the best show is like, best show I've ever seen would be Sunday mornings at Revolver, watching Boogs play time and time again.
36 weeks in a row.
Yeah, the amount of times that I walked down those stairs going, that was the best fucking day of my life.
Yep.
Thanks to him. You know, I can't fault that.
Yeah. I'm sure a few people have said that thanks to your music as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's nice, but yeah, it's hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yep. I guess for anyone who wants to have that similar impact, what advice do you have for like up and coming DJs that are trying to break into the scene? Because when there's people, like you mentioned yourself and Boogs and Sean have been doing it for 15 plus years, I guess that musical knowledge and libraries are a big thing, but what?
Well, pretty much like the only advice that I have for people is that if you want to get into it, like, know what you're getting into. It's like, it's not a fucking game, you know. It's like, it's something that's really sacred and really special to be able to play music to a bunch of people that have paid money to get into a venue.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, I have always said that a DJ should be an entertainer first before an educator. So I think that DJs should really think about the people that they're playing to, the time slots that they're playing at, and not try and showboat and, you know, like, actually not be nonchalant about what they're doing. You know, they should realise what they're doing, that people paid money to see them.
Be engaging.
So, and be engaging and be approachable, and do it because you love it. Don't do it because it's not, you know, it's like, it's the best job in the fucking world.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're lucky enough that you can make money and like survive playing other people's music,
yeah,
that's something to be really thankful for. So don't
take it for granted.
Don't take it for granted.
And that's one thing that I think I love about it so much is like playing at Day Spa the other week and high-fiving people in the front row and just feeling the energy of their vibe and like them smiling and you smiling back and you throwing rock and roll signs at them, and like peace and everything like that. I mean, that's a venue I'd love to play at a bit more. Yep.
But every time I get a chance to play at Day Spa, I have a ball at the time. I think that what the guys have done there is a really, really good thing, you know?
Yep. Well, speaking of I guess while we're talking of the crowds, here's one. You might recognise this fella. Don't know if you know Luke O'Shea.
Yeah. Luke is. I've got all the time in the world for Luke.
The man in the pineapple suit.
He's one of my favourite patrons.
Yep.
You know, like one of my favourite punters, because he's there. He like a lot of DJs who I respect, he's there for the right reasons. He's there to have a good time.
Yep.
He's there to help people have a good time.
Yep.
And, like, for instance, what he's wearing.
Yep. A pineapple suit.
You know, but just dressing up and making something of the day.
Yep. Always brings props along, pinatas, all that sort of stuff.
It's just...
I guess the reason I've got him up, he now lives in Canada, he's a good supporter of the pod and a big influencer in my
and
life.
A great guy.
Yep.
And absolute gem of a human being.
But I guess the reason I really bring him up is it's more so a reflection of the people and how important are the patrons and the people in the scene rather than just the musos.
Well, it wouldn't work without them.
Yep.
So it's as much, you know, like the DJs can be as good as you fucking want, but they're nothing without the crowd.
Yep.
And that's why we're so lucky at Breakfast Club each and every Monday to have those type of people like Luke O'Shea, who come and dress up and not only are they a part of it, they are the reason why it works. Yep. You know?
I'll bring up the BREKKY Club picture. We'll just do the...
Yep. Yeah, he's definitely a good one to bring up, Luke O'Shea. He's an absolute gun of a bloke.
Right. You better pass that over to us after you have a swig. Well, here is some early Breakfast Club image. So this one, well, I guess talk about Let's be honest. That's why a lot of people have tuned into this one. They want to hear about Boogs. They want to hear about Tahl. They want to hear about BREKKY Club. So, here's an old flyer.
This is actually probably maybe the first 3 or 4 weeks before I was involved with Breakfast Club.
Yep.
When it was at KiLliNG time, and I wasn't there for maybe the first 3 weeks or 4 weeks of it.
Yep.
And I had no idea. When I heard that someone was throwing a party on a Monday, I was like, fuck off. That's not going to work. Like, how's it going to work? And I just thought, I was living in Paran at the time, and I walked past and dropped my head in, and the vibe at KiLliNG time was so special that I was like, these guys are onto something.
Yep.
Like, they are. This is going to be something super special, because it was, even within the first month or the first 2 months of it happening, it was a family instantly. Yep. And a lot to do with a guy named Gabriel, who's a big part, who's one of the other director of Breakfast Club, and
yep.
what he brought to Melbourne, and what his crowd and the friends that he brought along, the international market that comes to Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
They almost sort of showed Melbourne that some parts of Melbourne can be a bit cliquey and a little bit too cool to have a good time.
Yeah.
And that bunch of people really gave us a bit of a kick in the arse to remind us that we're just there to have fun.
Well, last night I was there. I was sitting in the corner on the dance floor, and a young fella, Tommy, comes up to me, and he just come from the UK. It was his first day in Melbourne. His mate had gone home because he had work the next day, but he took him to Breakfast Club as soon as they got there. He said, mate, come in here. He's like, is all of Melbourne like this? He said, every person I've talked to has been so happy, is so nice, so welcoming. He goes, I've only been in the country for 20 hours. I don't want to leave.
Yeah. Every single Monday Monday's my favourite. Monday went from being the worst day of the week to the best day of the week for me, by far. And that's, And
you mentioned the fun of the recoveries, and you also mentioned the family. You did just come from, I know you weren't part of the recovery, but looked like a few of the heads there. We had Ethan, who on this poster, he's got McLaren nicely underlined, which you don't see that name on the flyers much anymore. It's all JMC.
And Luca Tan.
Yep.
And Steph Yare.
So you just
Steph Yare was probably one of the reasons why I'm a part of the Breakfast Club, because he pushed for me to get involved in the bill.
Yep.
And then Ethan had my back as well, and that was at a time where I was considering finishing up with DJing, because I found that I didn't have enough gigs to keep me going, and I wasn't being inspired by the gigs that I was doing. Yeah. And then these guys took me in and made me a part of what I think is Melbourne's best party, weekly party.
So with this being around 2014, 2015?
Yeah, so we've been going for 5 years in total, so about 2014.
Yep. And now the family, I guess you just came from there with Scotty Pesticide, Dale, Lee. They're such an awesome crew that just they bring the vibe every week. And
every week, and the crew of DJs that we've got, Francesco, Victor, Lee. Lee Lawless is Lee Lawless and Dale are the glue that holds it all together. Yep. And Dale's one of my oldest and dearest friends in the scene, but it's a real special group of people that run the Breakfast Club, and it's special because everybody has got each other's back, and everybody understands that it's a special thing that we're doing. Mm-hmm. And it's also a group of people that don't just turn up and play and leave. They turn up and play and then enjoy themselves for the day, or they might even come in hours before they have to play. Yep. And I think that's what it takes to make a community, is the people that are running it. Not only are they standing up there DJing, being the people of the moment, but then they're there on the dance floor 10 minutes after they play, enjoying it with everybody else just as the way that they are.
And it's how you educate yourself about new music and what other people like, and take it in different tastes.
I can't. And, and it's a big thanks to the guys who run 161 as well for having us, because it's an amazing venue. You can get lost in that venue. Any venue that's got fish tanks in the wall is, You know, I think that's a lot to do with the guy who designed and owns the club Zoc. Anytime he's around, the sound system sounds better.
Yeah.
You know? He gives it a bit more juice when he's around.
Do you know how many fish tanks are in the venue?
I've counted about 5.
5, yeah, that's what I've got as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how many are hidden behind the bar though. But
No, but I mean, like, they're everywhere, and the fish always look happy. So.
I guess the key word in the Breakfast Club really is club though, and that is like it could almost beat the breakfast family.
But
really.
Another person that you have to mention to do with like what that made the Breakfast Club what it is the guy that hosted us first off, was Cam.
Yep, I was going to bring up KiLliNG Time. Yeah,
who made and created KiLliNG Time, and I think is one of the only venues in Melbourne that has the integrity of an international venue.
Yeah,
you know?
And he also knows when to say no to people as well.
Yeah, he was one of the first people I met in the scene as well.
Yep.
I met him at Earthcore maybe 18 years ago or something like that.
Yep.
And I saw him walking through the dance floor and he looked like something out of Mad Max. And I was just like, I need to know this guy.
So he hasn't changed in 20 years then?
No, and then back then, before KiLliNG Time was a venue, he had a clothing, like where KiLliNG Time was, it was a clothing store called Slave Inc. And that was his clothing label. And he actually sponsored me as a DJ to give me free clothes.
Yeah, right.
And I'd wear them when I was playing and
Cool.
stuff. And he actually had my back and propped me up.
Yep.
Before anyone else did.
Yep.
And also gave me a couple of life lessons, because I've always been somebody that I've been kicked out of almost every venue in Melbourne and can get a little bit caught up in the moment, and he's one of the only people that's ever been able to put me in my place.
Keep me grounded a bit.
Yeah, and keep me grounded, and gave me a couple of real, like long, good, strong, firm emails about, like how I could better myself. And,
Well, it sounds like you've had some good influences in terms of that with people like him and Boogs. But just on KiLliNG Time, we're actually down there on the weekend, just gone with the Jozman Tracks had it, Joey Connor.
Oh, yeah, cool.
He had a label showcase down there on Saturday night, which
awesome.
had a fun little vibe to it. So we popped in there and saw the crew doing their thing. So
it's like the sound system in KiLliNG Time now is like, it's immaculate. It's just like, I love KiLliNG Time. Before it was a venue, Cam used to throw these parties that I'd leave the party and I'd go to work and I'd hear that it was still going. I'd go back and 3 days later it was still going. People on the roof and stuff. And then I think Cam just had the inkling that he should turn it into a venue.
Yep. I guess you mentioned the emails and the advice he gave you. What are some of the best lessons you've learnt?
Well, yeah, like not some of the best venues is best things I've been taught is to be happy with what you're doing, and not to expect. If you give a lot, don't expect it back. You give it for a reason, and you give it because you want to give it, not because you want something back. There was a time in the industry where I suppose people could have said that I was a little bit jaded and all that sort of stuff, but that was, that just comes with working at the same job for ever so long.
It's easy to get comfortable.
One of the biggest lessons in this, Ethan helped me with this, and Musker helped me with this, and it was just that no matter what the troubles that you've got in your personal life, you've got to remember that you're there as an entertainer. Back to what I said before, being an entertainer rather than an educator. So you shouldn't, if you're in a bad mood, don't go out. Don't put that onto other people, because it's not they're not in a bad mood and they've got nothing to do with your bad mood or where you are in your life.
Don't go there as an escape kind of thing.
And don't sort of bring your bags of fucking to the venue, because people have paid their money and they don't. It brings the whole vibe down.
Well, that, I guess, kind of leads into my next question, which the scene does have a lot of, obviously, great positives and can do so many great things for people. But also, what are some of the, I guess, demons or darker sides of the scene? Like, obviously, people do bring that baggage to a venue. That vibe can be...
And it's also, like, one of the biggest demons of the scene is that... there needs to be much more education on substances and substance abuse. And because there's lack of education about substances and what they do to you, a lot of people can do a whole heap of substances before they know what they're getting into and then get caught in a trap. you
Yep.
know, and then that there needs to be much more education than punishment.
Yep.
Because, you know, I say the word drugs are a part of the scene, they're part of life, you know, and just because they aren't a substance where the government can make a fucking tax off it, doesn't mean that they're worse or anything like that. They just are what they are.
Yep.
But there's, you know, cigarettes and alcohol kill more people than fucking anything, you know, but having that horrible sort of like zero tolerance on any other substance, I think that's one of the main problems of the scene, because the substances are always going to be there.
Yep.
And instead of having punishment, they could have a lot of education, you know, like I've been talking to a few friends of mine of thinking of doing like some sort of drug bible, which is what, you know, what each substance does and what it shouldn't be mixed with, and if you've had it or if you've had too much, this is what you do, rather than somebody instantly getting put in the back of an ambulance and getting put in the worst environment that you could ever imagine.
Sometimes you just need to
you've had acid or something like that, you're strapped to a gurney, you're in a white hospital room. Like,
sometimes you just need to
it's an absolute fucking nightmare.
You just better be nursed through it in a comfortable environment.
You've just got to ride it out. And if, you know, like back in the early days, some of my early days of raving, you know, I might have taken a bit of acid and I went through a stage where I thought I was a brick.
Yeah.
If I had too much, and I'd just stop moving and I'd stand there still, and I'd get taken to the rave safe tents.
Yeah.
And they were old guys that knew all I needed was a glass of orange juice, which is a placebo effect, and it was just somebody going, "You're right, man. You're
exactly.
cool. Have a cold glass of drink.
Yep.
Sit here for a bit," and then I'd be like, "Oh man, I'm feeling awesome.
Yeah.
I'd go out and have the best time of my life."
Yeah.
But in today's market, it's like that same sort of person would be instantly swamped by Red Cross people and like, "Oh my God, you know, hold him down," you know. And then of course the guy panics or the girl panics. And then they're fighting against the one thing, you know.
Sometimes it's best just to go back to your campsite and have a lay down.
Yeah, or be around people that are experienced in that sort of environment who can just talk you out of it.
Yep. I guess that's the thing as well, is sometimes it's also very easy when you're in a venue and it might be time to go home, but everyone else is still rocking and having a good time. So and it's very easy to just hang around, isn't it?
And just get caught up in the moment and have a little bit too much.
Next minute you spent $300 you shouldn't have.
That is something that I would say to people, is that like there's nothing wrong with calling it a night. Yeah. You know? It's like, because the party will always be there the next week. Yeah, exactly. Don't think you need to rinse yourself to the point of being unhealthy and drain your body, because the party will always, there'll be another one. You know?
I think we've done most of the photos. Do you want to just bring that up, Julian? Julian's feeling a bit sick today, so he's not on mic duty. He's just clicking the buttons. We look after that throat perspective.
He's the season for it. I just got over the flu.
Yeah, so. That's right. Spring's back. We're in the good times now. I think we nearly cranked it out. I
do want to give a bit of a shout out to a guy that I've got my first part of doing an Ableton course tonight, so I wanted to give a shout out to an up and coming DJ called Easy Street, also known aka Sammy Alexander.
Shout out to Sammy
and Cameron as well, and Reese. They're a bunch of guys that sort of found me 3 years ago at Rainbow, and I was a little bit lost, not knowing where I was going in the scene, and just needed a bit of backing, and they backed me and have revived my entire career, you know. Those guys and the Breakfast Club, making me part of something, making me actually, giving me a bit of props for the amount of time that I've spent in the industry was, you know, like a little bit of positive feedback and a little bit of positive reinforcement for anyone can change their lives.
Just a bit of confidence.
And those bunch of people, and Musker as well, and you know, I've got a huge list of people that are the reasons why, you know, and my mum and dad as well, especially, you know, like I've been a trial of an only child, a crazy person that's many calls from hospital and many calls.
What are their names?
Anne and Doug Hamilton.
Anne and Doug.
Yeah.
Hey, Anne and Doug. Shout out to Anne and Doug.
Yeah, they'll listen to this. So.
Yep.
But there's been many calls from, getting brought home by police officers and up in the hills, and calls from hospitals and falling off roofs of stuff and having a parachute fail and.
Skydiving is something I was told to ask you about.
Yeah, I've got my skydiving license. I had my skydiving license. I'd have to renew it now.
Yeah.
Having a son like that and still having his back to this day. I spoke to my mum earlier today.
Yep.
That's something that's really special.
Yep.
But the people in the industry that, and just reconnecting and rejigging my friendship with Boogs has been a real special thing for me of late, which, I've been catching up with him and...
Awesome.
I was running a party called Dopium for a little while at Good Things, and I've actually got a Revs Sunday takeover coming up.
Yep.
On the 13th of October.
Awesome.
And I'm lucky enough that, and I think this is really special for Melbourne as well, because Boogs has always done the early slots on a Sunday, and they swapped around the set times, so Boogs will be doing the last set leading into me.
Fantastic.
On the Sundays.
So what time will you be playing on that one?
Luke Vecchio and I will be doing a back-to-back set for 2 hours, a bit of a trick set and showcase straight after Boogs at 4 o'clock on Sunday,
Awesome.
October the 13th, and so Boogs will be playing 2 or 3 hours before that.
Fantastic. So October the 13th, Revolver. We'll make sure we're at that one.
Yep. And you get Boogs at lunchtime.
Yeah, well,
rather than the morning.
Yep.
So.
Hopefully it's raining outside, so we're not. Well, yeah, we're just about done. One other thing is you've also been known to get a bit of bad luck, a bit of tail luck.
Yeah, I've had a couple of things,
you get the short end of the stick every now and then. What are some of the, not funniest stories, but I guess how's that helped build your resilience as well into your life and career?
A little while ago I almost killed myself trying to jump the banisters at jump from the stage where we have the artwork on at Breakfast Club, and I tried to bunny hop the banister and fell on my head from about 2.5 meters down. And
what, just a little stage near the bar? Where you walk upstairs?
Where you walk upstairs. So I jumped off that and caught my feet on the top of the banister and fell head first onto the ground. The footage of it makes me want to vomit.
So what did you do, smack your neck or something?
I don't know what I did, but I was concussed really, really badly. I had to leave the venue and stuff.
But yeah.
It's like it.
Right.
The footage of it makes me feel sick. But that's, in terms of unluckiness, that's a lot to do with the way. I'd say it's a lot. I chipped my shin bone at Revolver one year. Because I was enjoying Boogs' set so much, and I screamed at the top of my lungs, I fucking love this place, and went to kick a table and miskicked it and kicked the corner of it and chipped a little bit off my shin bone. So I've got a little bit of bone at home in a glass jar. That's my Rev's bone.
Yeah.
But it's a lot to do with that little bit of tail luck that I have is to do with me putting myself in positions time and time and time again. So really, it's not luck. It's just me
creating your own
creating my own universe.
Yep. Are there any areas in, I guess, DJing or other that you would like to improve on, or you feel you'd like to work to get better at?
Well, this new delve into production is what I'm because I'm 40 now, so it's I don't want to be I don't want to be a 45-year-old club kid. So this delve into production, which is big thanks to Samuel Alexander for pushing me to do it.
Yep.
But I'll be giving that 100% of my time and 100% giving my absolute heart and soul to.
I think with the tunes that you've played over the years, I think the ideas you've probably got that's going to come over into the production scene. I think the scene's in for a treat.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Yep.
The ideas that I have in my mind, if I can get them out into a track format, then I think they'll be pretty good. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on before we get to the final question?
Well, not really. Just pretty much like thanks to anyone that's actually said a kind word to me or actually given me a pat on the back or a hug or had a dance with me or a bump or whatever. And shared a moment with me in the time that I've been in the scene, because that's why I do it, is because, you know, experiences with people is all that life's about. It's not about money, it's not about fucking showmanship, it's not about like ego or anything like that. It's about interacting with people and sharing moments, and DJing's been something that's made me lucky enough to, you know. I also have to do a big mention to Rainbow Serpent Festival, because I haven't missed a year in 10 years, and every single year I grow as a person over those 5 days.
Yeah. And
Rainbow's, you know, I've got big thanks to Thad Lester, who booked me for the market stage last year, and that was, you know, a culmination of 19 years of, you know, I've been applying for Rainbow for 8 years before that, and played on the chill stage for 3 years. Yep. And then finally got to Unleash on the market stage last year, and it was, you know, that was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I wanted big shout outs to the Subsonic Festival as well. Musker and I have had a big lot to do with that party ever since it started. We were involved with the first party, and we used to drive a charter bus of 50 odd people from Melbourne all the way to Sydney to the festival, and then drive them home in the same bus. The bus up there would be very loud and lots of singing and songs, and then the bus home would be Xanax and quiet and a lot of staring out the windows. But that was some special times. You know? Sure.
So the Rainbow, was that Saturday morning? Like Saturday lunchtime you played? Was that right?
No. I actually played a kind of tough time, but that's, you know, big thanks again to the crew of people that stuck with me. I played 7 a.m. on the Sunday morning. Yeah, that's right. After they did the call out of the garbage and cleared the dance floor.
So you got to get it going again.
But it was tough. But you know, and I have to give a big shout out to a guy who had my back at a time where no one did. Pasco Gordon, who is one of my absolute best friends and one of the best people I've ever met. Yep. And he orchestrated. He brought a huge amount of people to that stage, and really made a morning of it. And another person I need to shout out to, who I hadn't, and who has had my back probably more than anyone, apart from my parents, a queen of mine, an angel in my life, Bryony Ann Bull. She has made me feel safe at times where I felt really alone, and really pushed me and made me realise that I was doing the right stuff. It made me a better person.
On your Bryony, thank you. That Rainbow set can be relived on your SoundCloud. The chill set's also up there, but if you go to Tahl and SoundCloud, the Rainbow one's one of the ones at the top of the page, which we were vibing last night, actually cruising to BREKKY Club, so it's a good listen. Well, we're just about to wrap it up. All right, so just before we get to our final question, I'll ask you the final question, and I'll let you think about it, and then I'll do your plugs, and we'll get back to wrap it up. So the final question is, as you may have heard before, is if you could ask anyone in the world, living or dead, any question, who would you ask, and what is the question? So whilst you think about that, here is our other tradition. Here's a lovely bottle of wine. This one, again, not sponsored by the show, but we like to make it relative to our guests. So this one is called Underground.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
No worries. So we'll have to share that one shortly, because you are the man of the Underground scene in Melbourne, and have been for the last 20 years. Again, everyone, you can find Tahl. He's on Instagram, Tahl. Also
it's
on
DJ Tahl Melbourne.
DJ Tahl Melbourne.
On Instagram.
On Insta, yep. Tahl on SoundCloud, if you whack it in, Tahl as well there. Check him out on Facebook. See all his upcoming events on the Facebook page. You can see him at BREKKY Club just about every Monday. Revolver, KiLliNG Time. What are other your favourite events coming up?
I've got, you know, like I haven't shouted out to Danielle and Ewan, who run Rancho and Chihuahua Town.
Oh yeah, you've got Chihuahua Town coming up.
Chihuahua Town doing a versus set of Mutant House with Musker there, but those
look forward to a fight behind the decks.
Ewan he backed me a long time ago, and I actually stuffed up the set because I got too drunk before the set and I messed it up, and that was at the Eclipse Festival a long time ago.
Yep.
So it took me a little bit of time to make him realise that I took myself seriously and I was a serious artist. So
Yes.
it took me a bit of time to get back on that. But when he booked me for the first Chihuahua festival, he gave me the Saturday night main time, and that was, to this day, was one of my favourite sets I've ever played.
Was that up in the Dandenongs in the hills?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it was. I closed with Pharaoh Munch, Get the Fuck Up.
Yep.
And that was pretty special. And some other, I have to give some other shout outs, guys like Tim Augmented, who was a big reason why I got the set at Rainbow as well. Casey Taylor's been a big influence on me. Fergus, who's also AKA The Oddness. I mentioned Kodiak Kid before, but he's been such an inspiration to me the entire time that he's been playing, and I've got to call him my best friend. His partner Leola, Jay Loren, Griff, a whole bunch of Northside people. Dylan Jarrett and the guys behind Esoteric, I think, are some of the, Luke Matheson and those guys. I think Esoteric is one of the, saving faces for the underground. We spoke about underground before, and I'm so glad that their festival's going through the roof.
Yeah.
Because they deserve what
The
they
best party
get.
I went to last year for sure.
Because they are some of the most hard-working people in the industry.
Yep, and that's coming up next year. The underwater theme for Esoteric next year.
Yeah, and the fact
I think it's already sold out.
And the fact that you get 3D glasses upon entry is, I can't wait till you get to see what you get to see through those glasses.
Yep.
And, I've had word that I might be getting a set on the Snake Pit next year.
So that's dangerous.
That's dangerous and something that I will be prepping for months.
Yep. And I think that's where something like your production course can come in nicely.
Exactly.
An intro.
Like, fingers crossed that next season I'll be able to actually showcase some of the work that showcase something of my own next summer.
Fantastic. Well, one thing we have always, I appreciate anyway from your sets, is the fact that you aren't just techno or house. You do put in that old school rap and hip hop and still I guess a lot of young people in the scene don't know about NWA, but you still bring in like the Pharaoh Monches, like you said, and all those throwback tracks that I remember listening to as a 15-year-old, you're bringing into the new age, and giving that music still the appreciation, I guess.
As Eminem said, motherfuckers thought they forgot about Dre. But he's like,
But I guess that's the same as guys like Dr. Dre and Pharrell and Kanye. They're putting in the roots of their old 60s and 70s funk, and it's constantly reinventing and showing homage to those past genres and things that have influenced us to new crowds.
With how fast music is moving and digital music is moving and technology and everything like that, it's so easy to forget what has just been.
Yeah.
So I think, some of the most, the big parts of my sets that I've been playing lately have been tracks that are 4 or 5 years old, that only got a rinse out for a while in Melbourne and then quickly move on to something else because there's so much new music available.
Yeah.
But you need to remember that the crowds in Melbourne aren't obsessed with finding new music like DJs are.
Yeah.
That's the one time they get to hear those tracks is when they're out and about.
Yeah.
So why not give it to them?
Yeah, well, sometimes you hear a song that you think is new, it's new to you, but it's been out for 8 years when you look it up. But and I guess that's where even the 20-year fashion and music cycle is so interesting because, things like Ludacris, Timberland, like that stuff that was early 2000s, DMX, you can bring that back now, and it's so new to such a good crowd.
That era of hip-hop, like in the late 90s and stuff, was just... Jurassic 5 and all that sort of stuff was just off the hook. It was just so good. Yeah.
All right. Well, so did you ever think about the question in between all that? I probably distracted you a bit. But so who would you ask? Any question? Who would you ask? And what's the question?
Well, geez, that's hard. Right. I'll probably ask Kurt Cobain why the fuck he hooked up with a girl with a tip rat like fucking Courtney Love. But it's like, that's me personally, because Kurt Cobain was the only. When I heard about his death, he was the only celebrity that I actually cried about.
Well, I'm actually rocking this at the moment.
Oh, that's awesome.
The old Nirvana t-shirt. There you go. I should have had my hoodie off the whole time.
Kurt Cobain,
influenced.
if Kurt Cobain, Biggie and Park were alive, it's like the music industry would be a lot different, But if I could ask the cops that killed Biggie why they did it, then that'd be a really good answer. I'd ask the LAPD why the fuck they killed some of the best musicians that the world has ever seen.
Who shot Tupac?
Well, I don't know. I think that was gang related, but I think it was all orchestrated by powers that be because they were too big for the world, and it's the biggest crime of our generation is the fact that no one's been charged for their murders. It makes me want to vomit in my mouth. But
it'd be also interesting to see how people like that though would have, because they were taken so young, how they would have adapted. Because you look at people like what would have happened if Jay-Z or Puff Daddy were taken at the same age, and you look at how they've turned into these different business moguls.
Exactly.
And then other ones who have gone down, like R. Kelly, who goes down a totally different path. But you know what I mean? Like, so sometimes being taken young almost might have helped them long term.
Yeah, exactly. But I just think that Kurt Cobain had a lot more to say.
Yep.
And I think I don't believe he killed himself, but that's my personal opinion. But all that sort of stuff is going to come out in the wash one day because everything does.
Gradually is now.
You can't shy away from it.
Like you see a lot of stuff that was suppressed from the 60s and 70s now. It's in its statute of limitations. It starts coming out.
Biggie's mum's case against the LAPD goes ahead. It's going to bankrupt the city of LA.
So it won't.
So it won't, but hopefully she keeps fighting and stuff. If anyone hasn't seen it, and they should see a film called City of Lies with Johnny Depp, which is the expose of that whole story, which is really something special. The last scene of the film has got Johnny Depp sitting with Biggie's actual mother, talking about why, what's wrong with the world and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's really poignant in terms of today. But that's just me getting a bit dreamy there, But
well, that's one for us to check out. Everyone else, go and check out Tahl. Thank you so much, Nick, for being here today.
Thank you, Trent. Cheers,
we look forward to seeing you at Revolver on the 13th, and all the other magical events, Breakfast Club, Killing Time, that you're playing at coming up soon.
Yep, cheers. It's going to be a really huge summer, so everyone out there, anyone who's listening to this, take care of each other, and don't let them catch you riding dirty. Keep it under wraps.
Keep spreading the love, playing the good tunes. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the TB podcast. Our track of the week coming up just after this. Thanks very much.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Obrigados. A big thank you once again to Tahl. Check him out on Facebook, on SoundCloud, every Monday at the Breakfast Club 161 on High Street in Melbourne. What a great story. Fascinating to learn about the history of Melbourne, techno and the underground scene. So we really appreciate your time, Tahl, and everybody get around him. He's going to have some sick tunes coming out once he starts producing, but some of his sets on SoundCloud right now, they'll get you through a weekend and even through the midweek blues. Massive thank you again to Tahl. And as we said, straight into our track of the week. This off his new release, Lost Moments on Recovery Collective. Our good friend Allegra, Alegra. You can buy this on Beatport for under $15. It's an absolute humdinger. Here is a bit of a sample. We can't give you the whole thing, but we'll give you a bit of a teaser of track 2 off this release, Newfound Love. Everybody check it out. This is Allegra. Remember to check out DOOFTUBE for all our favourite highlights. Big interview with Liquid Soul coming out very soon. We appreciate your love. On the TB podcast, have fun, be safe, don't stop a rockin'. Obrigados, vamos.
There you go. There's a sexy drop. Now go buy it on Beatport. Allegra, Alegra. Obrigados. Vamos. ELE.